Okay. And so, as I've been trying to move forward with the meetings, what I've been trying to do is open up so that uh, people that want to present or want to say something get an opportunity to say something up at the front of the meeting. So we have everyone seems to be our regulars. So I'll go to the two Bobs first and ask, do either one of you have anything that you wanted to present or talk about during the meeting that you had encountered in ChatGPT or AI?
Mhm. Folks, not particularly. There seems to be a tremendous amount of things coming all the time. Hard to keep up with all the progress.
Yeah, and let me put on my headset really quick so I can hear you better. Testing, testing, one, two. Are you still able to hear me?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Right. So, yes, that definitively is what's happening. And not only is a lot of things happening, but that was the whole rationale for the design of our group when we started. I believed that no one person could track and make sense of all of the things that were happening back then. That's over a year ago. And since that year, the churn has just become amazing. I definitively say that no one person, not only could no one person watch everything that's happening, it's getting to the point to where you have to choose an aspect of ChatGPT and or AI to focus even a group because the whole world of AI is just growing at a phenomenal rate. Ben, I see Ben joined. Ben, I was inviting everyone to, if they had something that they wanted to share that they had encountered in AI and or ChatGPT, that I wanted to move them to the front of the meeting to have an opportunity to share that. So Bob had just said that there was a lot of things happening and that it was becoming difficult to keep track of all those things. And I was sharing with him that I believe that the reason for this meeting was because there's so much, no one of us could watch everything. So all of us together could watch things and hopefully bring back things that were interesting. So Ben, do you have anything that you wanted to share?
No, I don't have anything. I just wanted to listen in. So thank you.
Okay. Oh, sure. Now, have you been to our meeting before, Ben?
No, this is my first one.
Okay, well, let us all welcome you to the meeting.
Thank you.
Um, since I get kind of redundant saying over and over again what I had believed the purpose of the meeting was, would anyone else like to welcome and introduce Ben and explain to him what the meeting is for?
Sure, I can. I think I joined, I don't know, May of last year, and Dennis is very knowledgeable in IT security and also AI and a wealth of experience, military guy, honored veteran. All that said, the group is incredibly intelligent. Sometimes we get excited, we talk over each other, and sometimes people come in and they show demos of what they've been working on. But especially this meeting is geared towards if you have general questions. Like a friend of mine has a question about how to use AI to invest in the market. And I said, come here, right? People have ideas. And in general, the more people who join the call, then the wider the breadth of experience. As Dennis said, we really try, he really tries to allow the new people to speak first. And that's about that, about what you're here for, etc.
Thanks, Veronica. So let me give you a quick introduction about myself. So I'm Ben Sharma. I founded a new startup now called Data 8X, and I'm working on the website. But previously I had founded Zaloni, which was sold to Truist Bank, and basically I just left Truist to kind of start this new startup. So one thing I want to do is provide services, provide training in this Gen AI space so that, and then geared more towards enterprises so that we can train various folks in terms of like what is Gen AI and how do you deal with a large language model and things like that. How do you do prompt engineering and all those? So those are some of the things I'm looking at, and that's why I'm very interested in learning about like what you guys talk about in ChatGPT and things like that. So that's my quick introduction.
Well,
And if anyone wants to reach out to me, feel free to Ben. Email is ben@data8x.com.
so Ben, we want to give you an opportunity to go ahead and present if you have something that you want to
I
present.
don't have anything to present today, but I'll have it next time.
Okay. And so that contact email or LinkedIn that you were sharing, are you able to drop that into the chat?
Yeah, I'll drop it into the chat. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. So now this, what you were just speaking about, the whole concept of learning with AI. Um, when we were talking a little bit ago, and Sam had brought up how we've discussed AI ad infinitum, and that it's time for us to move on to how do we start monetizing this knowledge. To me, one of the avenues of monetization for AI is just that, the teaching of AI. So, as a matter of fact, I just had about 2 or 3 different companies in my other world reach out to us because they wanted to assist with some of the learning. So I will say that that is a great thing that you're bringing to the table, Ben, and we look forward to seeing your presentation in the future.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Excellent.
And if
Okay.
I could I just tell Ben something?
You, sir, can
Yes,
speak at any
please.
time. You're the world famous RJ.
Hi, Ben. I put a link just now in the chat. I don't know whether you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, so if you
Vola
go
site.
to, yeah, it's my YOLA site that I made.
Okay,
So
YOLO site.
it
Got it.
has all the links that I've been collecting, and there's one in particular I want to tell you about, given your interest that you just mentioned.
Oh,
So
definitely. I'll look into it.
yeah, well, let me just tell you about one in specific. So if you look on that web page and just do a find and search for, let me see, I got to find it myself now. Gen AI Learning Lab. Okay. Oops. Let me see if I'll find the exact one here. Hold on a second.
Okay. And I've put my email, so you can just email it to me later on.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this
Everyone should be able to see RJ's meetup group for AI 101 links.
Yeah.
I shared that screen.
Yes.
Yeah, so what I want to do is I'm going to give you this link right now. This is a specific link, but it's in there. So this meetup group right here, they meet on Mondays at 7 p.m. Every week Eastern time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and they talk about business stuff. So there's like 60 business people that are always on those calls. They're run by, and Dennis has actually attended a few of them. They're run by a group of consultants in Boston, and they're taking a really strong initiative lead in helping people learn about AI and
that's
also,
great. So,
yeah.
RJ, sorry to interrupt, but what's the name of the meetup group if I want to search for it?
You click on the link. You see
On
that
the
meetup
YOLA
link?
site link.
No. I just said I entered also another link more specific. So if you click on that other link that says meetup, that's the group. And
it's AI Insights Weekly, right?
Hold on a second. Let me make sure if I got it right. All right. So it's GAI, that stands for Generative AI Insights Weekly, and they call it the Gen AI Learning Lab. And it's run by Paul Bayer, and he has a website too. So they have about 60 people that always show up every week, and they're all business people. Paul is a consultant, and he's part of a consulting group in Boston they actually created a buyer's guide for the industry, and they were also doing a lot of other activities. He was just made a fellow regarding AI for Harvard. So anyway,
awesome.
yeah, it's a really good group to hook up to, and you can always watch their videos, and you can see Dennis giving some really good feedback on a couple of those calls.
Yeah,
And that is wonderful. Thank you, RJ. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I have
You're
to
welcome.
second that and say that Paul's group is really good, and they have their meetups. Some of them go into actual learning labs. You'll notice that one of the things they have there is that GAI Insights Learning Lab.
Yeah, one of the things they do is they're also running these once a week. I can't remember which day it is. Well, this is a paid event. They do it for salespeople because that's one of the big opportunities is for salespeople to learn Gen AI. So sorry, Dennis, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry, but go ahead.
No. I was saying that the group that you introduced to is really great. One of the I don't know how well we've been maintaining, and when I say we, you have been maintaining the link that we had where we were sharing information that was an invite only.
The Slack workspace.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nobody really uses that because most people are not familiar with Slack, and even if they learn how to use it, they forget it instantly unless they use it every day. So I personally think the Slack is not a friendly site. I think Discord would have been a better choice, or maybe Mighty Networks. That would have been a better choice too, perhaps. But I think in general, the people that are in our regulars list here, they're not really chatters on websites. They don't really like to do that, and none of us really do it. So we're not really using it at all, and that's why I made that Yola page there, because whenever I want to tell people about a link, I can't remember the link exactly. All I got to do is know that one Yola link, and I can say, here, look there, do a control find, and you'll find the links and all the other links too, all in one place, and you don't have to learn anything about Slack or all that complexity. So that's the whole story about that.
Well, thanks for that. And thanks for pointing to this. The net is that there's a lot of information out there, Ben, and we really appreciate you coming and joining with us. And we'll try and come up with some better ways to share all the many links that everyone has, because as RJ was saying, there's just, as you can guess, there's just a lot of information out there.
Okay. No, that would be very helpful. Thank you, Dennis.
Sure.
Yeah, next time how frequently do you all meet? Because next time I may be able to present some of the learnings and services that I'm offering to customers. And the customers I mean is because we used to sell to a lot of financial services and other things in my previous company, so Bank of America and others. So those type of customers who are struggling and trying to figure out what is the best way to go about kind of creating generative AI use cases and things like that.
Well, Veronica had just raised her hand, so I did not know if she wanted to answer that question. Veronica?
No, actually, I just figured out the answer to my question. What was the question? I'm sorry, Ben.
No. He was just saying that he was going to come back and share that he had had a lot of business links. So Ben, I'm in business myself. I work with Verizon Business. So that's
yeah, we used to sell to Verizon Business before. I mean, they were one of our customers.
Right. So you know the difference between Verizon, the company, and Verizon Business, who works for businesses.
Yeah, a little bit, but I may need more details from you later on.
So I see Mike has joined us. Mike, how you doing? Mike Jackson. Okay, Mike might not be able to respond right now. But if and when you do get the ability to respond, Mike, you're invited to speak up. I wanted to say that it's a
He
little
put something in the, he put something in the chat. And by the way,
okay.
Dennis, make sure you you
Yeah,
disable the
yes.
the waiting room,
So
okay?
people
So
can
people
come
don't get
straight in.
hung up. Yeah.
Yes. That's something I'm gonna have to start doing. Okay, so I just disabled the waiting room, so people should be able to come straight in. Okay, so
I got something
go ahead, please.
to say. You there? Okay. I saw an article on Live Science
Mm-hmm.
that MIT scientists have just figured out a way to make the AI image generators 30 times faster.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and it doesn't really say when it's going to happen, but it seems pretty amazing to me how they could do that. So,
Yeah, well, I am sitting here watching advances in science left and right, and is coming at super speed. I remember, I'm old enough to remember that advances in science would come maybe every 5, 10 years, and now it's every 5 or 10 weeks. So it's
That's right. Yeah.
it's exciting, and I think that's a good thing for us because, again, if we continue with our charter and we say, hey, our homework is to go out every week, find something new and different. And I used to say in ChatGPT, and I've expanded it to AI, and then bring that back to the group to talk about. And what's great about presenting in our group is you don't have to be an expert in that subject. You can present by simply having a question. So if you see something interesting in AI and or ChatGPT, and you have a question, just question, you're not an expert, but you bring it back to the table. We have enough really good people in our group that just by asking the question, you can start a discussion. So I look forward to that. Please, your homework is go out, find something new, and bring it back to the group.
So
So with that,
thank you, and I really appreciate it. So related to that, I don't know if everyone has seen that news item that Databricks was able to come up with the DBRX generative AI model, which apparently surpasses many of the open source models that are out there. So I wanted to know if anyone has looked at it and has any thoughts on it.
Well, I'd like to alert you to another link that's in the YOLA page that I gave you.
Yeah.
Because there's another group that's really hot on news items. They track it like every day, and it's called the AI Salon. It's another meetup
yes.
group. Yeah. So Ben, if you go to that YOLA page again and do a Control F for Salon, SALON, and then you'll see their AI Salon meetup group. You'll see the link. You click on the link, and you'll be able to join. And also, to get you in there even quicker regarding your topic, I'm going to put this link in the where's the chat? Okay, there's the chat. All right, so they also have a Mighty Network site, and they track. They have some really gung-ho AI people there that are interested in all different things: business, the AI news, art, video, health, education, ethics. They have subgroups for everything. But if you click on the AI Salon Mighty Network link I put in just now in the chat, you'll be able to join for free. And if you do a search for what you just said, you'll see the discussion that they're having about that already. So they're hot on that. They're hot on that already. So
That's great.
That's a group that's really active, like day to day, minute to minute.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Comment there. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal this week about the search for the fight for AI talent, saying that some companies are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for qualified people. I will post it on the chat right now.
Yeah, and let me attest to the fact that that is very true. I'm seeing a definite effect on my income thanks to AI, and it's scary. I if my mama had a seen that her baby born in Harlem one day would be living like this, this is it, and this is why I tell you guys we are ahead of the curve in that in us talking about AI and us talking about GPTs. To me, what I've identified is what is the place for human beings? And I keep on saying, to me, the place for human beings, I view AI and ChatGPT as a black box. But the place for us as human beings, and Ben had alluded to this, is the chat engineering, where we're engineering what we're going to say. How do we tell it what we want? So that's one place that I see that human beings can leverage their talents. The other place I see where human beings can leverage their talents is the output of these AIs, because they're still subject to hallucinations. And that means if we think back to the days of the newspapers, right? I just saw this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful article. So it was an article, and then as part of the article, it said fact checked by. And I thought that was so brilliant. And that because we see all these articles out there on all these things, right? And we instantly trust them because we say, well, they wouldn't have published it if it wasn't true. But that an article is published and that there's some entity that fact checks that article and signs their name to say, yes, I saw this and this is factual. As we go forward, and everyone is well aware of the political season coming up and everything else coming up, so facts have things been fact checked. And this goes back to the original thing of buyer beware, doesn't it? This is not new to us. Have we not all known that buyer beware? You in the Middle Ages, someone would go and purchase something with gold, and they would weigh that gold to make sure that it was gold. So they put some kind of acid on it to make sure it was gold. So none of this is new. We just find new ways to do old things. By the way, I was looking at that DBRX I think you was talking about.
Yeah.
All right, that's the state of art open source. And by the way, it's not that I'm smart. I'm actually utilizing Copilot. It talks about DBRX being a new state of the art open source large language model that they just introduced on the 27th.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, look. Hopefully, you'll take the helm of keeping your eye on that, being able to tell us about it as it progresses.
Sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe in the next, how frequently do you all meet? Because maybe in the next time I'll do a short couple of slides on DBRX so that everyone is aware of what it is.
We have been very good at meeting every Saturday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, perfect.
And the biggest thing that we ask in joining the meeting is, number one, go out, find something new, and come back and have something to share with us.
Okay. Yeah,
and
I will do
two,
a couple of things next time. I'll present about what I'm doing and then basically learning and services and things like that. So you guys can give me feedback and then I'll
yes,
present
sir.
2 or 3 slides on DBRX.
Yes, sir. And the other thing is bring somebody.
Sure.
I believe this is the kind of thing that you want to, and I'm even very open to us bringing in children, youngsters.
Yeah, yeah,
and introducing this, grab a grandchild. This
yeah. No,
this
that's
is
great.
this is the kind of place where I think, especially, oh man, with people like RJ and Sam, Bob, Cuba, Veronica, all these people around here, you want to introduce them to them so that they can grow. We have to
Yeah.
nurture that next generation.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, unfortunately, I have to drop off, but thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much. And I was really appreciative of all the links and all the inputs you gave me. So, and we'll sync up next time.
Well, you came to the right place. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing
Thank
you
you.
next week.
Bye.
Saturday, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard
Okay.
Time.
I'll keep that in mind.
Roger that.
Bye.
Okay, everyone else. So, Mike, were you able to get your communications spun up? I saw that you mentioned something in the chat. I just saw it. I'm assuming then you might be somewhere where it's difficult to chat. Okay. So now moving forward, as you guys know, I have been digging down deep into the AI 900 certification. And in my journey of doing the AI 900 certification, I got up off my Potuski and I actually went to our local library. And I am blown away at the facilities that they have in the libraries. So are you all familiar with 3D printers?
Yeah.
Yes, and my local library has one.
Right, right. I did not know. So I went there. My local library has a 3D printer. My grandson is so excited. He's like, "Oh, I can get Mickey Mouse or well, whatever that uh Pikachu. You can get Pikachu now." And they have a green room where you can go in there and record videos in the library. I am just amazed. They have musical instruments. They will let you play and you can record your own music. It's amazing. But anyway, on the AI side, while I was doing, I'm able now to do my classes uh, using the library's material. And so let me switch back here real quick and take you guys along my journey. Okay. And if anyone has anything to say please open up because I'm trying to share my AI 900 journey.
I can show you guys some deep dive into Stable Diffusion after.
No, you can show it before. I think everyone has seen my AI 900 fundamentals more than one time, and I would not want to bore them with death. I'll follow along with your deep diving into the artistic side of the house.
Okay, sure.
And I do have a question at the end about Python.
Ask your question up front.
Sam, is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. I'm just setting up.
Okay. Okay. So I have an opportunity to learn Python and use it at work.
Mhm.
And in order to qualify, because they thought I was technical, and I don't know anything about Python, I took the test and I got a 65%, which not knowing Python, I thought was pretty good.
You go
Anyway,
ahead.
but so I'm not needing to, but I get to learn Python. And if anybody has any advice, also, how much of Python is RJ? I looked at your file and I didn't see anything on Python. Does anybody have any advice or thoughts on like where else it might be used? And I don't know. I don't want to say why learn Python, but why learn Python? So it whatever you have to offer.
Oh, I think Sam is gonna jump all over that one.
Yeah, I was gonna see if anyone was gonna jump on that. Okay, so Python is okay. So the first thing I'm gonna tell you is that Python is sort of like any programming language is kind of programming in general is almost like art. So yeah, can anybody grab some crayons and start drawing a tree? Yep, we could. But as you notice, like you will definitely tell like the difference between like a 6 months junior dev versus like someone who's been doing it for life. just the things that the level, there's also like, it's almost like English in a way. Like there's like, yeah, I could like, you know, a little grade 5-year-old could write a sentence, but a master of like, you know, fine art could write, you know, like a symphony of words. It's just like so much more in depth and detailed, and you can tell. So as for learning Python, you just got to go at it. You kind of learn as you go. It's like it's layers. So the first layer is just the basics, variables, printing, doing basic functions. But as you get deeper and deeper and deeper, there's, you know, you kind of unearth different layers, and it just, whoa, you're like, it kind of blows, it transforms your entire way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's kind of like that. And then why Python? Python is very user friendly, very simple to use. You're not going to it's, I can't explain it, but I've always found with C++, I'm like, what in God's earth am I doing when I program in that language? It's just so obscure for me.
Okay.
Python is just very natural. So data science uses it, I use it, roboticists, like the world just has chosen Python as the
Mm-hmm.
sort of like simple to use,
Mm-hmm.
user-friendly language.
And
Yay. Okay, good.
if I could add to that, and this, you know, I'm not a programmer nor a developer, but as I've watched, you know, I've managed groups of developers, and what I've seen, there's a lot of churn about, oh, programming is dead. We don't need to learn programming no more. Why would I learn programming? Because of the advent of AI. And what my opinion is, what I've seen so far, is that AI augments your abilities, and not just in programming, but in almost anything. So AI by itself doesn't do the job yet, but it can take someone that is mediocre and make them be able to deliver work that is relatively decent. So
Okay.
look at AI matched with programming as something that will augment your ability to do the job well. To me, it kind of
Okay.
lowers the bar to entry. What do you think about that,
Okay.
Sam?
100% agree. I've tried some of these programs that all create an app, and it's really like, you know, like literally something a high school kid could do with ease. I think like the AI programming, yeah. But is it nice? I'll tell you what I was doing last night. I have a little robot upstairs. I mapped my main floor, and I made a little patrol robot that will literally go to sort of GPS waypoints. And I did this all with my best friend ChatGPT right beside me, guiding the way, explaining stuff to me. So I 100% think it's like a very powerful assistant right now. And I think there's still, the human still has to connect the pieces intelligently. You have to kind of parse the code to make sure that it makes sense. If there's troubleshooting, you can help with the assisted AI to like troubleshoot, but I still
Okay.
feel like it's a human driver,
Okay. Well, I'm taking the LinkedIn course, Python for non-programmers, because it was a
Mm.
long time ago that I started to learn C++ and Java, but I was a COBOL programmer a long time ago. Anyway, I'm still learning. How do we learn the libraries? Because that's, I heard, is the magic of Python.
Sure, I'll jump in this. So yeah, so that was my issue, is that I was fairly good at programming throughout my life, but I don't know all the libraries. There's thousands of libraries that are created like all the
Okay.
time. So like
Okay.
so there's one, for example, I jumped into, we wanted to do face detection. So my robots can just visually see us bounding box across our face, say, "Oh, that's Chris," or "That's Sam," or "That's, Dennis," whoever. So I
Okay.
jumped into it, and GPT kind of explained it. And then what I did is I'm like, okay, use this library. It'd be like, use this, try this library, try that library. So I'd try it, and and then I would highlight the library, and then I would click. Like usually with Python, I think it's called it's called pip, right? So you got pip install all these libraries. So there's
Mm.
also a big database that defines these databases where they explain what they do. And like the more important thing is like what are called the functions, right? So if I have like detect face, it could be like detect body, detect face, detect eyes, detect like the direct, they have all these like
Okay.
sub methods, right? So you got to
Okay.
kind of look up, sometimes it's good to look like sometimes GPT or whatever AI you're using can create an example for you. But if it
Okay.
fails, that's where like the real programming knowledge benefits that you can,
Okay.
deep dive into how it actually works.
Yay. Okay. So pip is the secret, PIP.
No, pip is a command. So in Unix, Linux, right? Pip is a command that you utilize. It's the way
Oh,
to do
okay.
things.
And that's how you find the libraries?
Yeah, so pip stands for package installer for Python. So Python is like kind of like a core interpreter language, and then you use pip to kind of get these modules or packages. For example, one's called face detect. So you type like pip install, face detect. The biggest issue, I'll just
Ah,
forewarn you in with, and then you do your import, right? It'd be like import once you've sort of installed the module,
yep.
then you import, and now all of a sudden all the functionality like like I said, face detect dot body detect, face detect dot face detector, eye detector, all these kind of like sub functions are now available. And
Okay.
I'm just going to give you a kind of a huge kind of like leap forward for
Yay.
for your Python thing. Is the biggest issue I run into is what's the issue of versioning. So if
Yes.
I for
Yeah.
example, like
And
I'm
and
let's
thus
say
and thus that's why they have GitHub.
yeah. So for example, let's say I'm developing something like Stable Diffusion, right? I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
understand some core stuff. I want to put it together. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need to use OpenCV, which is Open Computer Vision. It's like how to work with images, how to move them around. Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna need to use a file structure. Then I'm gonna pull the Gradio stuff, which is like the sort of the behind the scenes of how the diffusion works, all this stuff. The problem is that when I start programming it today, I'm probably not going to finish a big project like Stable Diffusion for 8 months. The problem is within those 8 months, people are changing stuff, people are updating it.
Yeah.
Let's say
Yeah.
OpenCV moves to version like 3.28, and I
Mhm.
start a program in 3.27. Well, depreciation sometimes happens where they're like, "Oh, we didn't
Yeah.
really like how we did it. It
They
was kind of,
break, or they might
Right.
break something.
yeah, it was kind of sloppy how we did it. We're gonna revamp it, but we're gonna call it not, we're not gonna call it body tracking. We're gonna call it pose tracking. So
Right.
then in my whole program, I use body tracking. Now I have to go back. If I want to use your new version, then I have to call it pose tracking. But for all the people that want, like, if I want to use the old version, it's called body tracking. Well, what do I do? Right? It's like a bit of a, a situation, and that's where we call that breaking, it was a breaking change, or this, some my code broke. So I would say like if at a certain stage, once you kind of gain your kind of whereabouts of like variables and lists and all that kind of stuff, you're gonna to make your code like actually like longevity, you're gonna have to start paying attention to what version of Python you're using, which
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
version of pip you're using, what version of the package libraries you're using to
All your
make.
dependencies.
Yeah, we call those dependencies, and sometimes,
Yeah.
like even
Yeah.
myself, I'm like I said, this is a true example. Is I made this face detector like 8 months ago, and my friends want to see it. I tried to pull it up, and it was just Crash Central because of my I had like
Versions.
conflicts, right, in the
Yeah.
dependencies. Because I had, yeah, and I'm like, I don't even remember what version of face detect I made it work on, so I have no idea. I
Yeah.
almost have to like guess, right? So that's just kind
Yeah.
of like
Now, now, am I correct that is what GitHub tries to do is help you with version control?
um I mean, there's a lot of helpers. So when you
Uh-huh.
pip install, you can pip
Mhm.
install a specific version. So like
Mhm.
PyTorch, right? The Python machine learning kind of stuff. So you can do like pip install PyTorch, and you gotta do like equals version like, I don't know, 4.85, whatever you're looking for. So you can specify your version, but the problem is that people don't really know when the next version of when it's going to break everything is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like, well, it worked for the last 4 versions. Maybe it'll
Yeah.
last for, and then of course it breaks. And then we're like, okay, so now I can tell you my program is 100% compatible with version 3.4 to 3.8. That's what I know. And so you get into these situations where sometimes it's not documented. Sometimes they'll just leave it open to say it's generally like for now from like the last year it's been compatible, but who knows when it will not be. So I would say like that's probably the most frustrating part of like, this world development Python kind of forum. So
Okay.
how GitHub kind of falls into it is, I don't feel like GitHub, I can't really say like how it really helps. It doesn't hurt your version controls, but you still will run into that problem that I'll write a whole bunch of code on my GitHub, I'll publish it, somebody use it, and then, out of nowhere, somebody, will change their library. That's one of my dependencies. I won't, obviously, unless I'm spending every day, it's just not something you do, right? You
Yes.
just don't like, oh,
Right.
did OpenCV release an update today? No, I don't know. You kind of find out when it's broken, unfortunately.
Well, let me ask you this. If I wanted to build something that was resilient, then could I specify within my code import version such and such of what's on GitHub?
Yes.
Uh, unless uh, unless they actually whatever depreciate it and they take
Right.
it
Well, the
offline.
problem will be, as Sam was alluding to, that version control is challenging in that when you write, when you code for what it is doing today.
Yes.
When they change whatever it is does tomorrow, right? It affects the code you had made. So
Got it.
that's
But
why,
doesn't it have a new version number?
right? So yes, it will have new version number, but it doesn't integrate easily into what you had done previously.
But if you version it, if you say import version number such and such,
Right.
then theoretically they don't change the. You get my idea. It
Here,
locks
No,
them.
no,
watch
they
watch
did.
this. Watch this, Veronica. I'll just show you by demonstration. Can I share my screen? I'll just
Please,
show you
please
what I mean.
do. Please do.
I know I'd taken you all
No,
on a
no,
ride.
this is good because this is a little bit of deep dive understanding into programming in Python, which is underneath a lot of what we're doing. And I learned that when I went to do my AI 900, that getting into the secret sauce, getting into the code, because this is all the net is all AI is code. It's
Yeah,
code and mathematics.
I might need
And
yeah.
hosts.
okay, let me give you host, Sam.
Veronica, this is very interesting to me also, so it's not just you, Ryan.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you took us on a good path, Veronica. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just sharing my screen right now. So I'll show you what I'm talking. Okay, so I'll show you how it is. So this stable diffusion is a Git it's a Git repo, right? So I've changed a few things, but this is a
Is
Git
this all in
repo.
Python?
Majority, I'd say majority, yeah. So
Okay.
you'll see some other stuff. There's other
Okay.
pieces, but Python's probably
Okay.
probably the core of it. So
Okay.
what we're talking about with these, so you're right with the versioning and stuff like that. I'll show you. So usually Python, GitHub's all that will give you what's called a requirements doc, right? So this is like what you're saying. So for example, so in order to run Stable Diffusion, these are all the libraries that are behind it. So there's blend modes, like
Oh,
the big ones would be Gradio. Does someone have something they're interested?
okay. Can I then ask you that it's nested? In other words, something that you would call a library that you would call has nested other code libraries or code bits from GitHub.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Right.
dependencies are a better word because as
yeah.
you write
Yeah.
something, it is dependent upon something else.
Which may change in the background.
There
Crap.
you go. There you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
damn. Excuse
So
me.
here's
Okay, got it.
yeah, you're starting to get it, right? So here's the official Stable Diffusion GitHub repo, right? So this guy's a genius. He just kind of packaged this all up beautifully for us. So part of the it just makes this web interface and what the AI gen graphical gen behind it. So part of the code, part of his repo is he has these requirements. So this is what I was trying to show you is that so he's in order to make all of his stuff work, he's got something to do with face. Gradio is like the very core of like the diffusion tech. And see, here he specified anything else other than version 3.14 will break this thing.
Perfect.
He literally
Perfect.
spent like a year making this. But you see how on like NumPy, he's just like, oh, just use whatever, hope for the best. PyTorch, hope for the best. All these ones
Got
are like
it.
are open, meaning like they've
Which,
worked for
right.
the last year. I'm not sure at some point something will
Wow.
break, and this is the issue because
Okay. When he breaks, then he'll go to
well,
debug
will
it.
he though? Will he?
Right,
You get
exactly.
you remember this
And,
man's doing it for free.
and that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Wow.
Having been the product manager for Red Hat and working with all the open source programmers, one of our problems is they don't work for us. They work with
Yeah.
us. And
Yeah.
trying to get them all together to head in the same path to accomplish a goal was like herding cats. But this is part of the open source world. We can get
Yeah.
a lot of useful output, but we have to keep the human beings engaged in doing it.
Okay, but could we use this came from Mike in the chat? Could we use something like ChatGPT to update code from version X to newer versions, or even to just alert us that something we're dependent upon
Maybe.
is
It's a hard
changed?
maybe.
It depends on what that ChatGPT is trained on. And that's the new thing that I'm learning is that, we look at ChatGPT as magic, but it's only magic in the thing it was trained on. So for instance, in
Yeah.
the early days, they used artificial intelligence and they trained it to play chess. And it was excellent at chess, but a 3-year-old could beat it at checkers.
Yeah, and also too, like to kind of make this an accurate statement, imagine adding a new chess piece to the game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, is that how's your? I'm gonna say I'm gonna lean towards not really actually, because remember, especially if you're using the words ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is like what era
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah.
Well, if I
Right.
add
Yeah.
this new code tomorrow, it's not even
Mhm.
gonna know what the heck it is, nor how to use it.
Exactly.
Okay, but
Exactly.
suppose that GitHub built a librarian that would keep track of all the versions and keep track of like when it changed, and then and so that there was a quote unquote an
So
LLM
so we
that
could do one
yeah.
side that says what changed. The part that has too many variables is how does that change affect what I'm doing? So
Well,
so
okay, okay. Suppose that, okay, I'm trying to solution something and I don't have the money
go
to
ahead.
fix it. So I'll stop and let you talk.
That's okay. That's okay. But
Yeah, this
this has
is
been
the
a
number
really
one
wonderful,
struggle.
yeah.
Yeah, this
Th-
is truthfully the number one struggle. And I'm just gonna outline it so that when you run into it, you'll be like, "Oh yes, I know now what Sam was talking about."
exactly.
Like, look at some of these things, right? It shows when they were updated. This he fixed 3 days
Yeah,
ago.
three
This
days ago,
was,
exactly.
made 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. And see these
Mm-hmm.
Right, and when
pull
I
requests. These pull
yeah,
requests are literally people have fixed it, and they're just being like, "Hey, can we implement that?" This guy wanted to fix, something, this Gradio 4, like this was maybe an update. Oh yeah, so this is yes, so this is exactly what I was talking about. So remember how he specified he wants like version 3.41.2 or whatever. This guy
yeah,
here coded it out to say I really want to use Gradio 4, but it breaks all of the changes. and he will use, like, most of the time people will
Yeah.
code in their own solutions. Like, they'll actually fix the
Yeah.
code themselves, and they just say,
Mhm.
hey,
Yeah.
can you just like bring it into your code and make it a thing? But it looks like this guy, you know, I don't know if he's getting X'd or not, but they're kind of like, no, we're gonna keep 3.41 or whatever. So
Got it.
sometimes you
Got
get
it. Got
denied,
it.
right? Sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
if I
Got it.
said to your organization, hey, I know you guys are a Microsoft organization, but I really want to move you to Google, are you going to go
Yeah.
with that? Is the CEO going to make that change? Probably not,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes you
Yeah.
don't get what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I will tell you that when I worked at a bank, they outlawed any use of anything that was on GitHub. There was a question from Mike online. He said, "What about or more like PHIND that can do live lookups on what the new syntax is for the new version?"
yeah, so I use find all the time when ChatGPT doesn't, like, that's my kind of my second go-to.
Okay. Okay.
For kind of like, if ChatGPT leads me down a rabbit hole, like if you look at my GPT, sometimes it does like lead me down a rabbit hole. Like last night, I was writing a panel. I wanted to create a panel that for my robot. So if I go to like RViz 2, um, I'll show you what I was like, what I was talking about. So I have this like robot frame. It's like a 3D world, and then I want to add a panel. And what this panel does is that it creates a little guy down here, and then basically I can say like whatever I type here, the robot would speak. It's like kind of like a very direct way to communicate with a robot. So I'd be like, hey, how are you? Question, and click speak. So all I was trying to do is make almost like a hello world panel, but it's in RViz. I'm not like, it's a little obscure, right? So I started asking it, you know, all these questions of like, how do I do it? I was like, going through like, hey, this is what it should do, this is what it is doing. And there's like slews of errors here, like, yeah, failed demo, can't compile, can't do this, can't, and I was like, and it was going on. And I just was like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. So it was just like so wrong. And so I guess Find doesn't have history, but I would basically go to Find to get that like reference, it references all the stuff like that. So Find's pretty good. It's not perfect though. It's good. I appreciate it, but you still have to sew the thing together yourself,
Yep.
with its help.
Okay. Wow. All right. Perfect. Thank you for the sidebar. Really
Man,
great.
man, did we learn a lot today? My head hurts.
Okay, so I did want to show you guys this quickly, at least before you
Yeah,
guys
please
go.
do. Yeah,
So
we got
Sam
about five
is,
minutes.
yeah, I'll speed through it. So Sam is
Yes, sir.
found, and so we talked about Stable Diffusion. Well, I did get it to work. I got all my dependencies right, and everything's good to go. So here's what I've been able to do. So using Stable Diffusions, I have a few different models of stuff, and I was able to create these little Jedis. And if I go to Photos, AI Sam, Jedi, and I've created, so these are not me. These are just sort of good stable diffusion outputs that, oh, that one is me. But there's a few, let's see here. Where's the Jedi? Yeah, some of them are not me. So like this guy. So what I want to do is make it me. So what I'm gonna do is I have this plugin extension called Reactor. And this is fantastic. So I'm gonna go to extras. So I could generate and then put like sort of my face on it. But I've already generated it in this case. So I'm gonna drop the image onto it. Jedi, choose this one. So here's a blank picture of a Jedi. I could resize it, I can scale it up, I can do all these cool things. But for our quick 5-minute demonstration, I'm going to just do a face swap of me. And I found this was actually pretty good. And I've done numerous training methods in the like in the past, and I actually found just like literally slapping your face on it is probably one of the most efficient ways. Let's hit generate.
I've heard that it's easy to detect AI in motion when the bot turns its head sideways, because they often don't fix that profile. That true?
Yeah, yeah, I would say quite possibly, yeah. So yeah, so anyways, it literally just puts your face on it. So I think that that will improve, like if you use like a 3D, like a full, like instead of using an image, if I use full 3D rendering, which is maybe something I should do later. But anyways, I thought this was super effective, super cool. The opposite, it's not opposite, but another, like if I do Jedi, I don't know what's gonna happen here. We'll just try. The other way to do it is a LoRa, which let's see if I have. Yeah, here we go. So that's a LoRa. So this is using a LoRa method. So I trained a LoRa is sort of like, I want to call it like a post effect. And I'm actually gonna start with the LoRa. So I did find ordering does matter. So I'm gonna start with sort of like a base sample of my general likeness, face, body likeness, and then I'm going to diffuse into it a Jedi Knight male. And we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna bring the steps up to, we'll try 52. I'll try it without fixing. That sometimes I use this fix, sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. We'll just see what happens. Oh, and I'm gonna pull off the reactor. And I'm gonna move. Yeah, let's just see what happens. See where we're starting. So yeah, not quite. Let's try again. It's not quite. Sometimes it's actually the model is not fantastic. I've noticed too, some models are better for like it's called overtraining or overfitting. Sometimes models like that looks really nothing like me at all. So I think this model, yeah, it's pretty locked up. Let's try True Vision. Yeah, so in this case, that one model just wasn't taking the LoRa super well. There we go. So this one, that looks a little more like me. So this model
Beautiful.
called True Vision really took in the facial model, well, especially on that last one. These ones are not too great. Yeah,
Very
that one's a
cool.
little, that one looks a little more like me. So you
Quick
can kind
interruption.
of, yeah, go for it.
Are we gonna lose? Are we gonna lose Dennis?
Uh, Probably, usually, I don't know.
Okay, I just
Face.
wanted to say goodbye. But anyway,
Yeah. So this is sort of you can kind of wait towards towards like yourself a little more. Um yeah, so that's kind of, yeah, that's fairly accurate. So anyways, yeah, I just want to show you guys that. That's kind of like my latest dive into facial models. Is actually a lot less painful than the first round. The first round I was training for like must have been 3 hours. Um so the reactor is literally instant. No training required. Just drop an image into here and boom, that will be like we could try it actually. Let's go, I don't know, I'm just gonna grab someone randomly. Sure, let's go with Elon. Ah, it's WP. JPEG, perfect. Yeah, the reactor is nice because it requires zero training. Like you don't have to waste your time training. So we're just gonna grab Elon. I think I threw him in the pictures. Elon. So there's Elon. Let's see what happens. I'm curious. It'll pull me out of it and just throw a Jedi Knight with, just try to see it. So we can swap Elon's face on it. Yeah, there you go. So that was live. Not bad. See if we can get a better one.
Yeah, we might have to find a picture of Elon that is more burst. In other words, his face is more like the face of the. There you go.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
got
if
it.
you can get a model like that kind of looks like you to start, like that's really
Yeah.
handy. If it kind of naturally, yeah, this sounds funny. It actually is like it's an interesting blend. But I just found like for literally I'm gonna call this out of the box, like
He
damn,
might
pretty
even buy it from you if you actually built a game like this.
it's pretty good. Like I just like because I've
Yeah.
been doing that, trying to do my own voice model training, visual training, maybe even write a GPT that kind of speaks and talks in my sort of style, if you will. And I just found for like literally like what would take me 3 hours to train like a method or a model and fine tune it. I did do one to like this is a failed method, but I tried this one called textual embeddings, and I don't know, like the images were just like terrible, like you can tell there's like some sort of like I don't know something coming out of it, but it's just like what I would call trash. Um, but this, I'm like right off the bat, like, yeah, that's like, I'm not saying it's perfect, like generate till you get something that you want, but uh, like out of the box, it's like, damn, that's pretty good. I haven't, you literally saw this live. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
tweaking
yeah,
anything. I'm just kind of
yeah.
like rolling with it. So anyways, yeah, it's called Reactor. It's part of the Stable Diffusion Kit.
Can I ask you a question back to I'm so sorry, the Python library or the GitHub libraries? Is there a way to copy all the code underlying this stuff? It that way you kind of lock it down for something that's if you're building a product that you want to be stable.
Um, Wait, where am I trying to go here? Yeah, I think so. Like, can you re-ask that again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the answer is
Let's say,
yes.
okay. Let's say we really wanted to make our product stable, and therefore we couldn't really rely on something from GitHub, or we'd have to version everything. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know, in a weird way, like you just do kind of find to depend on the community. Like there's like see this contributor, so this package didn't just build itself. Like there's 551 people a part of this, making this
Yeah,
released, right?
yeah.
So I mean in terms of making it stable for longevity, and that's what I've done. So I'm gonna close this. So in terms of my stable diffusion directory, this is what it looks like. So, once you get clone, like once I hit this button, it's now pulling today's versions. Oh, and also you can go back too. Like I could do, was it branch? V, 1.70. So if you noticed here we're on
0.800. Yeah,
1.8.0, right?
yeah.
So if I go, yeah, I think it's like that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I'm just gonna delete it. So now there's nothing. And if
Okay.
I was to pull that version, I pull 7.0, right? So it's there. I don't know if there's like
Yeah.
yeah, if I count out the change log, like this is
Okay.
version, the version I want. So if you find like, and I had to do that where like I found like version 1.70 works good. It gets all the dependencies right. It's like just works with what I need to do. Like that is, I don't want to say this is like mine forever, but like this is literally like that's the attraction of locally like
Mhm.
locally, like local
Imported.
stuff, right? Yeah,
Okay.
like
Got it.
this couldn't really be taken from me. So I could use it, pretty much for the rest of my life as long as I have
Cool,
power
cool, cool.
and a computer.
But
Um,
now would it still be true that the underlying code within that could change? Or
mm,
once it's imported, that's it? you're locked on.
If
Everything
you
that it's
are,
dependent upon.
so I want to say yes, as long as you're not dependent on anything web like API. Like for example, OpenAI, ChatGPT, right? If all this Stable Diffusion did was go over to Midjourney, grab something and bring it back, then obviously you're going to be subjected to their changes. But Stable Diffusion, I could pull the Ethernet cord out right now and it would function perfectly fine.
Okay.
Same with the
Okay.
GPT
Okay.
for all, same with Olama. And so you can truly build something more foundational on
Okay.
this kind of stuff than you can.
Okay.
But I will also say good luck keeping up with OpenAI. Like the thing is like almost like it's like you isolate yourself by not like you know how like there's this thing of like if you like kind of like isolate yourself from the world and you think that that's the best route, it's like yeah, you gain some benefit, but you've also isolated yourself that like like this like living on an
Yeah.
island. It's
Any growth of the world would be also not just the risk, but the benefit.
yeah, you'll probably miss out, right? So in a weird way, and to just be straight with you, there's no way I could ever keep up with like OpenAI, right? Like they're exponentially, growing. They're GPT-4, GPT-5, like it's just so like fast paced and just so much better, right? Um, so yeah, it's kind of like that too, unfortunately.
I'd heard that GitHub had a security breach. Did you hear about
Possible.
that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't know if that would affect, because if you're isolated, it would, but if it did, then you'd be eligible, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of know where I sit with security. I want to just say, like, I almost don't care. I don't want to say
Yeah.
I'm careless. I'm just like, if you want to take my shitty face detect code, like, congrats. Like, I really don't think I have like NASA security codes, or anything like that.
No, what I'm concerned about is some of the GitHub code that we're dependent upon. If I build something that I'm dependent upon.
That's not really an issue. I think you can roll back, right? Like let's say, for example, somebody hacks in, like this is my shitty little GitHub page. Where is it? Right here. Like if someone comes in here and hacks up my like vocalized ROS code, uh, I don't want to say I don't care. I just like it's like okay,
It's
it's
recoverable.
like yeah, it's very recoverable. Like I showed you with those versions, like how I can go back to version 1.7.
Okay,
And
perfect.
just gonna assume that there's some backups in this, scenario.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it could be major, right? They could encrypt everything and it could be a whole ordeal. Um, but then I don't know, just recode it better. I don't know. It
Okay.
could,
Okay. You're good. You're good.
yeah.
You're good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sam.
Yep, you're welcome. But yeah, that's how you can do some lightweight face swapping. There's also some cool stuff too. I'll just load in some of the stuff that I've played with. So all I've been doing is on my Stable Diffusion is I'll load all of these sort of extensions and then I organize them by stars. So ControlNet is huge. The Sad Talker, or also called Open Talker, is pretty good. FaceChain's one of the better digital he's calling it digital twin generators, but you need a lot of GPU memory. I use Easy Photo to do my LoRa. Um, yeah, there's a lot of really cool ones. The forums are very artsy. That's what you're seeing on TikTok when they do these, the image kind of blends and then all of a sudden it's a fish and then all of a sudden it's like a unicorn. It's the forum style. So Dream Booth is one of the older ones, but still, I haven't tried that one yet. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff. There's a prompt generator too. Like if I say like make Jedi, or oh no, I'm gonna say make it better. I'll say just Jedi Knight blue lightsaber. So I'll take my like kind of basic prompt and then it will kind of span it out like, Jedi Knight, blue, stormy sky, oceans, 8K, Greg, whoever, you know, so then, oh, I think he just actually clicked that. So let's see what happens. Yeah, see how much more epic, you know, it's just like an epic prompt. Yeah. So like, you know, you saw my kind of shitty prompt. It was like my basic prompt was just like a plain Jedi, boring background. This is, you know, kind of a lot more epic. And then you could tweak it. You could say like blows up. I don't know, see what happens. Yeah, kind of brings. Yeah, there you go. If you ever want to know what girl Jedi Elon Musk looks like, that's what it looks like. But yeah.
Sam, can
Sam,
Sam,
I'm
can
gonna
I ask
drop,
you,
but thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
take care. Sam, can
Thank
I
you.
ask you a question?
Sure, what's up?
Okay, thanks. So, we've seen that you're able to change faces and blend faces and things like that. And I was wondering how you're able to control the pose besides using prompts.
There's something in ControlNet. Let me see if I have ControlNet loaded. I'll just show you the ControlNet uh open pose. It's called open pose. So oh, actually that video might be looking good. See what this video is about. So yeah, so basically this is the way you do it. So it's open pose. You get sort of like you can give it these pose you can either manually sort of control it or you can bring in an image. Yeah, see how like if you take this image, you can kind of like pull, yeah, control net, dense pose. Uh, I use open pose. Yeah, see this right here? Let me pause this video. So this is the concept. Basically, you have your control net. You can have like how you get your pose. I mean, I have a depth camera. I could just do my own body like in the pose I want and then have the stable diffusion generate off of that pose. Another thing you could do is have a sample image. So this lady here is sitting like this, which generates this pose. And then you could generate like a knight, you know, a Jedi knight and slap your face on it would be the workflow.
And as far as getting it to use that pose, uh, which apps are you able to upload the image and get it to do image to image kind of thing?
Well, in terms of your pose input, like I said, you have a few facets. You can even move those, like you see those little I want to call them joints. See the little white joints? So in this case, for example, you could grab and drag and put whatever pose you want. You could have a source image input. You could even have like a dance video. Somebody I think on the AI salon did that. I think it was what's his name? It was who's the video guy? You know what I'm talking about. The video
I
guild
can't
guy?
remember his name.
Scott. His name's Scott. Scotty or something, right? Scott. So Scott did that where he had like he got like from Adobe like sort of like this wooden like mannequin looking thing and it was doing dance moves and then he stable diffusion on top of it. So he was just using the poses from that dance video as his input. Each frame was an input and then he would gen off of that. So that's your input and then you would run a prompt like human male Jedi Knight, I don't know, ominous, background, whatever, onto that pose and control net will basically will help diffuse it out of that pose. And then once you've done that, you can either do it as part of the process or post the process, do a face swap with Reactor to shove your face on it and you're good to go. That would be a pretty good workflow.
Thanks. So this is all using Stable Diffusion. I was wondering if there's any other tools that you've used before that maybe we could use that's online, maybe like an online free image generator that where you could load in an image to specify what pose you want it to be in, and then it would use that to configure the pose, but also use the prompt to configure the rest of the way the image is set up.
Well, I know, I mean, I want to say, I mean, okay, so if you're looking for something like a commercial product, I don't particularly know. I know not Open, Unreal Engine uses like, the what's called the rigged skeleton for a lot of that stuff. And this is kind of, I guess, what it kind of looks like, where you have these sort of skeleton joints, like these little, the finger joints and, all the neck, the head, all that stuff. And so there's thousands of like, um, yeah, there's thousands of, like animations that is used in video games. Like, for example, like sword attacks, like all of that stuff has been choreographed, like sort of like Mortal Kombat looking moves, where it's a sequence of moves in an animation. Uh, so there's that, like this kind of like vision board stuff or animation board stuff. Um, so you could probably pull from that. But I don't know of any sort of
And then
commercial.
where could I input it into?
RJ, I want to make a comment. There's a website called Run Diffusion. You pay 50 cents an hour, and you could generate quite a lot in there. You could probably do the stuff you're asking.
Okay, thank you.
That's pretty good. 30 cents an hour? Wow.
Yeah, you could do quite a lot in it. So you put
Thank you.
you put like $5 in there, and then just use a little bit at a time. So if you want to generate stuff quicker, you pay a little more per hour, but you get quite a lot for your money in this place.
Yeah, that's super. Yeah, it looks like they got comfy UI. So this is brilliant. Yeah, this focus, I've talked about this before. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, this looks like, oh man, this is brilliant. I wish I thought of this. It's just rent a server, charge us Smite Premium, because people ask me all the time. They're like, yeah, that's great, Sam. How do I, like, I just literally talked to Victoria about, or Veronica about the mess of like, you know, uh dependencies to get, to kind of keep this stuff working. That there's a reason why I have all of these separated, is that I didn't like, some of them will break each other. Like they'll have you saw how Stable Diffusion wants Grado version like 3.41 or whatever, 0.2. Well, I had a lot of issues with this one here, the sad talker, because it had dependencies opposite, or I'm going to say conflicting with Stable Diffusion itself. So it's like, how am I going to get this sort of plugin to work when it's conflicting with Stable Diffusion core, right? So I had to do some workarounds. But the fact that they're just like literally ironing all that out for you is beautiful. And then they're making a little profit on top, right? So they're probably through RunPod. I'm betting runpod.io. Yeah. So RunPod's a beautiful server, and it's interesting how it's a very similar website too. But yeah, these guys will rent you servers, right? These guys will rent you like, an H100 for, well, this is expensive stuff, but yeah, you can get an RTX A5000 for 44 cents. These guys charge you 50 cents. They're making a penny per hour, even if that's all they're making, but they're literally not, super, that's just super smart. But yeah, that's cool. I might actually save this. But yeah. That's all I had to show you guys. Quick little dive into Stable Diffusion.
Hey, Sam, you mentioned OpenCV for computer vision.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something I have an idea of a small thing that would watch a computer screen for certain things and maybe take a screenshot of a portion of the screen, then OCR it to understand the words and numbers behind it, and then act on it or put it in a spreadsheet. So is OpenCV the ideal thing, or is there a simpler library?
I actually am doing a little course on OCR. Yeah, OpenCV is going to be your like one of your like core framework parts. It's just helping you to work with, it's just giving you like a framework to work with like webcams and images and process those images, do some detections, stuff like that. And then for your OCR, you're probably going to bring, I think it was, I want to call it was like called textual OCR. I forget or OCR inversion. I don't know, is it inversion or textual, one of those two words. But there is a library out there that like literally handles OCR.
Okay.
So my pipeline would probably be like, open the webcam, get all the channels going, get your processing, get your FPS that, you think is good, get your resolution good, set up sort of the camera at the right angles that you have, like, you'll find like certain angles that have a higher rate of detection and success. So just kind of make sure get your lighting's not too bright, not too this, too that. So then once you have all that done, then I would start processing it. Then you're going to find out how are you going to detect certain things. Like, let's say you're looking for your cat. I don't know. My friend did a cat. If his cat jumps on it, so there's different tricks to do object detection. So you're going to figure out what trick you want to use. Maybe you want to use YOLO, which is heavy on the processing. Maybe you just want to do like a silhouette. Like a lot of time you just convert the image to like a sort of like a black and white, and then you see the outline of the cat, compare that to known images of like cat silhouettes, and like that's a very super lightweight way of doing things. Once you have your detection, then it's like that's going to be like a trigger, right? So then what's your action? Your action, you said, is going to be like OCR. So that's when you bring up your OCR like library, do whatever you got to do, and then pipe out your output to whatever you want. Maybe it's a text message, maybe it's an email, maybe it just puts it on the screen, whatever you want to do, would probably be my like sort of plan.
Great, thank you. I'm gonna paste in the chat this little thing I found. It's by UiPath, and it's called a Smart Clipboard, an AI. So it kind of does what I said, is like you can take a screenshot of the image and it will convert it to a spreadsheet compatible numbers or whatever. So yeah, watch that demo. This clipboard AI. It's pretty cool what they came up with. UiPath is a robotic process automation software that businesses use to automate, like data flows and processes.
I think I understand. It's almost like a macro in a sort of way.
Yeah,
But probably like does some machine learning of how, like, yeah. So you're saying like if I did sort of like data entry, we'll say, every day, so I go from email to sort of like a CRM, it could kind of like watch me grab stuff, put it, sort of identify it as like, hey, this kind of, let's say for example a use case would be, let's say I go to Amazon webs, this is like a real life thing, so go to like amazon.ca or .com, whatever you guys are, and then I will grab the price. I'll grab the Amazon number, like the, the unique ID from Amazon. I'll grab the product description, and I will grab the web's link, the full Amazon web link. And then I'll put those into my inventory request.
Database, yeah.
Yeah, to make an order, right? If it sees me doing that, with the tool like this, I could basically automate where I could just paste the link of the Amazon product I want to purchase, type in a quantity I want, and it will like fill in the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or process a bunch of PDFs, combine things, extract data you want. So yeah,
Nice.
anything can be done. So this
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
really
is like
cool.
it combines your robotic experience with AI in a way, but just the software part. So.
Yeah. No, I think that's really cool. I think like I'm excited when like I absolutely hate, I call this stuff busy work, where you're doing a lot of stuff but you're not actually really accomplishing anything. It's just kind of mindless.
A lot of repetitive
I'm
stuff.
so
Yeah.
excited for this stuff to go away, right? Where it just like, yeah, send a link, figure it out, like what's the issue?
Hey, on the robotic angle, have you seen any companies that automate kitchens, like in fast food restaurants? So the
Oh,
flipping of the burgers, stuff like that.
yeah, that's so cool. So I was looking at Vention, which is sort of like an automation company, and I was having a little chit chat with them. But I absolutely love their stuff. I love how like sort of like it's like almost like IKEA like. It's just like out of the box, easy to assemble.
How do you spell their name?
It's called Vention, Vention.
Vention. Okay, cool.
Vention. Anyways, so they're into automation, but they're kind of like making it accessible. Like usually, like to get this kind of like robotic automation stuff is like, very hard to get stuff, like expensive, hard to get, but they kind of like make it like just accessible, right? And you can put it together yourself. It's just extrusion. Yeah, yeah, so like I was thinking like so I was looking at one of these long tables that was like a robot arm can kind of slide back and forth. And I remember seeing like the robotic kitchens with the two arms coming down, and they're hanging from the top. And I thought, like, so I'm thinking of like one of the products we make at my work. It's like a small robot. I thought, well, it's like conceptually, like if I wanted to automate it, let's say we like made a new version and it was like really sleek and like a flagship product. How could I automate the production of this thing? And I was thinking about the kitchen, because the kitchen ones hang from a rail system on sort of your cupboards, right? Like it hangs down. I thought that was so much more smarter than sort of having it on the low level production line, as long as weight's not like an issue, as long as you're not lifting anything too heavy, because you get that full real estate of your table or work platform to use them in like the robotic arms. So I like the kitchen idea. I think it's super, super cool.
If I could say something, there's actually a McDonald's in White Settlement, Texas, that's fully automated. There's no humans there.
Really?
Yes. You can Google it. It's White Settlement, Texas.
Well, I could see that coming to, I'm in California, so
Yeah.
next week on April 1st, minimum wage is for fast food only is going up to $20 an hour. And it's
I
gonna
heard that.
impact, some places are laying off, some places are raising prices, but nobody, customers are not happy about the prices going up. So I could see a push into automation to
Yeah.
sidestep that,
In a sad way, they almost signed their own,
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
That's like the death sentence, right?
yeah.
$20 minimum wage is a death sentence for that. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, but some people say it's good. Depends which side you're on, right? It's good and bad at the same time. So
Like I've always had, I don't know, like I have to like think about it, because like I've always had like this thing of like, if your like life goal is to like bag groceries, like I don't know, it's like I almost feel like that's like a sad existence, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But I guess some people like it. Like I have a friend at work and he just wants to like build the same, thing over and every day. Like just that's it. Like he's not interested in like doing crazy stuff. Like I think there's just different people, right? Like for me, I enjoy like the very difficult stuff. I enjoy like learning, doing new things, all that stuff, but don't kid yourself. Like it's an enormous intellectual like price. Like it's very complicated stuff. Um Even on my Saturday, like I can guarantee you he's not like researching AI stuff.
Yeah.
He's not, you know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
relaxing. He has a very easy life. It's just money in, money out, and you know, go do your 8 hours. Like it's very simple life for him. So it's, and if that's what he likes, if that's what he enjoys, like good for him. So I guess on that sort of like sense, like I do feel bad for people that are like losing their sort of simple jobs. Um,
Well, they have to reinvent themselves, and things move forward.
yeah, it's true.
So they'll do something
Yeah,
else. It's okay.
it's true. I feel it's sort of like, it's the same way with when cars were invented. Like, yeah, if like your whole life was shoeing horses, like, I mean, there's still gonna be a little bit of work,
I mean,
but
the good thing is most of those people are on the younger side, so they have their whole life ahead of them. And
Mhm.
go learn a skill, go take a class, and you'll go make 25 an hour on something else. So it's okay.
I'm hoping that like with this like AI and robotic revolution, that the world becomes a simpler place. Like, I don't know how your life is, but it's like I remember there's several times that it's like super hard to keep up with like, like, oh, taxes are due. Like, oh, it's like you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Um, I just find like people like North Americans are just so busy we don't even have time to like live. I'm hoping that sort of robotics will, like if we did farming, for example, vertical farming, lettuce, all that stuff, robotic farms, that somehow we'll have more time back. We'll get time back. Like for example, you guys should see it. I have 3 robots upstairs. One will sweep the floor at 10, then the other guy will wash it at 11, and then I have a little patrol bot that has like a little camera and lidar. He can move around and stuff like that. So he'll like he's like my little security droid. So he'll like drive around on intervals, right? Like every hour. And I'm gonna make him have the Star Wars theme where he's like the Imperial March, where it's like do 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 do. So he's gonna be doing his little march, right? I kind of do it just to book my wife, but so anyways, I have these 3 droids. So I'm actually down here with you guys because I don't have to like go vacuum the floor. I don't have to like sweep the floor. I don't have to wash the floor. And my wife is out too. She's going to visit her family with the kids for Easter. And and this is a very perfect case scenario where robots have made my life easier, where I can hang out with you guys instead of doing chores. I hope we get a laundry. Anyone who has kids, like how nice would it be to have some sort of like a robot laundry that it's automated somehow. You just put your clothes like in the bin and it just does it and folds your clothes after. Like that would be like how many, housewives or people in general would be like loving that. Like I hope we can get that time back because it's such a sink of time to like do all that stuff. I'm gung ho on the cooking robots. I think that I need to like I would do it. Like if they said if you invest even say $100,000, upgrade your kitchen to be a robot, have these arms, and you can just sort of place orders. I would probably do that. I would probably be on board with that.
Yeah, they got the order placing in the lobby. It's just a big plasma TV with basically a phone app, right?
Yeah.
So whatever phone app they have, they transfer that to a big screen, and they can eliminate the front desk order taking. You know, it's just a matter of, and they've actually, since COVID, so much, like when I go to fast food, there's no money handling, there's no order taking, because I place it 5 minutes ahead on my phone and walk and drive through and give them a code and it's handed to me. So that part, I think they streamlined because of COVID, because they had to close locations and the rooms. So
Well,
it's moving ahead.
if I'm ever in Texas, I'll definitely check this place out. But I have to say, like, I'm personally kind of on board with it. I'm pro kind of robotics AI, you know, and I'm like, this is cool. And if it doesn't work, if it's stupid, or if it's just like everything's breaking, nothing's working, like that can happen too, then okay, at least we can say we tried. But I like the idea of like, well, I went to friggin' I went to Florida, and we went to God, where we were like in like around Georgia, and we went into a Domino's pizza. And I kid you not, I just ordered a large pepperoni pizza. And we literally were like, okay, kids, we're gonna get off at this like small, like this little town, and we're gonna go bathroom, we're gonna like get some food, and then back on the road, we got another 2 hours we wanted to drive. And I kid you not, it took these people, they got like, I don't even know how they screwed up so much, but it literally, we were there for an hour for a large, a large pepperoni pizza. It was nothing crazy. They'd like lost our order, and then they said, okay, we found it. Somebody was putting the order under like one like they they have like the different customer names. Well, they had like 6 orders under like one customer. It was really messed up. And it literally, yeah, I was just like, I'm like, man, I was just like, my wife Jen was like kind of pissed, because we, what I mean, we had to, our hotel was 2 hours away. It was already like 8 o'clock, and the kids are getting a little restless because they've been in the car all day. And I was just thinking, like, I'm like, then, oh my God, there's like friggin' like 8 of them. There's 8 people. And it was just like I was just like thinking, I'm like, I hate to say it, but like, if it takes you guys, like, if your guys are this disorganized, and like taking you this long to make one like large pizza and get it in the oven, and it's just like, I don't know how you guys are gonna keep your jobs. Like, it's, what I mean, like against robots, and against, like, what I mean, just efficiency of economy in general. Um, and then you're saying that the wage might go up to $20 an hour, and I'm like, you're gonna pay, you know, was that 100, that's $20, 8 people is like $160 an hour, and they can't even make like, 3, 4 pizzas in an hour. Like, they are not gonna be around.
True. But you're right about the time. That's the ultimate goal, right? Is getting back our time. That's very
That's
true.
my goal. That's my goal. Oh, I guess what kind of the opposite of that. So that's my like dream, my hope, I guess, would be that the sort of like AI stuff like takes away the stupid busy work stuff, like you said, like data entry, like level stuff, where I'm literally copying the prices, pasting in, and that's like one part. I have like 20 parts I need to order for some of my projects. I just like hate it, right? It's the worst part. But if I can get that time back, become more efficient, like my hope is that, yeah, we'll get that time back. My fear is that I want to say people, but corporations, powerful, like, I don't want to say greedy entities, will sort of like utilize that, where they'll just propel themselves up to be, I want to say million, but million is not even a lot today. It's like almost multi-billion-dollar corporations, and they just kind of leave everyone in the dust. You know what I mean? And I hate to say it, but with like capitalism, that there's like kind of a concern that might be a true, thing.
Amazon is a good example, right? They're getting their hands in every single little thing. And then the third party sellers on the platform, they let them do their stuff and then they copy them and push them out, right?
Oh, brutal.
So, they bring on a new product or a trend, and it's successful for weeks or months. And then Amazon comes with their own Amazon Basics, same
Yeah.
product, and pushes it up the ranks, and whoever introduced it is out.
Yeah.
In months. So,
and they can afford to sell
to
it
lose,
at
to
like,
sell it at
yeah,
cost if they
yeah,
want to.
yeah, just for even to get you hooked, right? Because once,
Yeah.
let's say for example, Amazon makes like a certain brand of chips, and we're like, damn, these are some good friggin' chips. They can afford to sell them, at like, super low for like a year and not really care if they are paying their mortgage or paying their, store rent, making a lousy $10,000 or whatever. They can do that and then, yeah, crush them out. I didn't even know they were doing that. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's some articles on how much these third-party sellers are being squeezed out.
Yeah.
And then Amazon just keeps raising their storage, physical storage, warehouse cost, and
Yeah.
the commissions and all that. So it's like they're saying, what am I doing this for? To make up 1 penny on,
Yeah.
so they're squeezing it to the max.
Well, it's even worse too for local stores, right? So I was friends with these guys that had a plant shop, like sort of like house plants and sort of some rare ones, and their rent was $5,000. And I mean, if you're selling like, plants, like that's kind of a lot. Even myself, like doing computer service and stuff like that, like 5 grand, like would be like you know what I mean? Like that's like a chunk of my profit. Like and so anyways, these guys, a lot of local businesses is they're literally working, not drawing a salary just to pay their rents. And, and unfortunately, the truth is like they'll sell a plant for $40, but the real truth is you can go and get it off like, a bigger store, or Amazon, or like, even like the grocery stores for like, $12, right? So they're getting crushed. COVID crushed a lot of those kind of those little businesses, the local shops, so I mean, that being said, that kind of like I've been thinking about like business recently, and what sort of the next move or step for me is, but it does really seem like, yeah, and I think that's why I've been staying with like the company I'm with, is that it's just like in this sort of like turbulent time, I'm just kind of able to coast. But I do miss, a lot of the business elements and stuff like that. So I do definitely need to get back to it. But I'm just kind of thinking about like where that entry point is, that makes sense, that will have like a night, like I can take it for a nice long run, like at least like a 10-year run. Um, yeah, it's definitely a crazy time.
You mentioned Olama before. Have you installed it locally or?
Yep. Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
using Olama for about, I don't know, 3-4 months.
Oh, nice. And that one, you can give it like a folder with 1,000 PDFs, and it can index them.
Yeah, you can do some like rag stuff. You can do it's like I guess like what's nice about the platform is like the whole painfulness of like managing like the parameters and config and like the transformers and all that stuff has been kind of like seamlessly dealt with. That's the beauty of that framework. So you can jump from like, model to model. They even have some like multimodal ones that can like do some image processing and stuff like that. It's just a very programmable platform where it's like APIs, there's Python libraries. So it's just like a very wide, featured platform for LLMs. So yeah,
You
we
would put
like
it
it.
above GPT for all?
No.
No?
Personally, I'm gonna say personally, no. I just love GPT for all. I don't know why it just works for me, like programmatically so well. And I love their little graphical user interface. It's just so you know, friendly. Even there's like updates all the friggin' time. It's annoying, but it's also like click update, it updates, and you're back in business. You get the, you know, the models. I feel like the GPT for all did a great job. And it's like I've used it in my programming a lot, and it's, I don't know, it just works. It just, I've never had an issue with GPT for all, just never have. So I'll never knock GPT for all. I think that the Olama guys have a little bit bigger of a, you know, like a bigger beast to manage. And like, so I've had like the Lava, there's one called like Lava with 2 L's, which is like it will basically you could just be like, hey, Lava, what do you see in the image at, and then you point it to a full, like a picture on your hard drive, and it will actually read it and process it. I've had that like come back as like Chinese. I find like Olama will break every once in a while, and then, you know, and like maybe you got to update, and then maybe it's fixed, or maybe you wait a week and then it's fixed. So it's a bigger beast because of what they're managing, but I absolutely love GPT for all. It just is pretty solid.
Nice, nice. Have you done any Whisper stuff or transcription?
Yep. Oh, I love Whisper. So I've messed around with the Whisper CPP. So I actually coded an entire robot off off of the Whisper CPP. And as part of my pipeline, I played around with the like the call, the open AI, like kind of web call one, which is good. And I also mess with Whisper Jacks.
Is that local? Which one's
So
local?
Whisper Jacks and Whisper CPP are 100% local, and the open AI Whisper is like a cloud service basically.
Okay, yeah,
I mess with
I'm
all
looking
three.
for local. So CPP or Jax, that would be local.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think too, actually, I think you can actually use I think there is a local version of OpenAI. I think it's called like, it's a Python library. I think it's called like OpenAI dash Whisper, and I'm pretty sure that one is local. So that's the one I'm messing around with recently. That one is, I don't know. I'll have to. I never did the Ethernet test. So for me, I'll literally unplug my Ethernet cord and I'll see if it works. I don't think I did that. But the other two are 100% local.
Well, when the zombie apocalypse comes, you'll be all set with your local models.
Yeah, no, for real. Well, I'm not afraid of the zombies. I'm afraid of the government regulations.
I know.
So I don't know if you played Minecraft or anything like that, but
My kid has, yeah.
so I was heavily involved with like the Minecraft plugin community. Like we had like a bucket. So we basically had our own, you know, version of Minecraft server from it was before Microsoft owned it. I think it was from Mojang. And so it was like and so it was modified that we could add plugins, right? We could add like flying dragons, we could have like sentry knights, we could have like, you know, all kinds of really cool stuff, like, you know, functionality, extensions and plugins, whatever, you know, we wanted to code, right? So then one day, it was just before or after the sale to Microsoft, and they literally did what was called I want to say it was like DMZ takedown, something like that. Like it was basically a cease and desist. You're to take down your site. You're to take down all your servers. You're to take down absolutely everything from this fairly like big, you know, organization called Bucket. And it was just like, it was just so demoralizing because, you know, like we had, you know, spent a lot of time. We basically made the game like fucking awesome. Like vanilla Minecraft is like get super boring where it's like, okay, like after you've like cut down like your thousandth tree, it's like, cool, now what? We added just like huge functionality to the game. Like I made an entire like huge world where like it was like Age of Empires combined with like Assassin's Creed combined with like, you know, crafting and building. You could be a lord, you could like fight wars, like it was insane, right? So anyways, they did this takedown, and so there's basically like cease and desist, or you're gonna have like severe legal actions, right? You'd be facing Microsoft in the court, and it was like, it was just like, it was just brutal. And so what my concern is, like with AI, is that at any time, like the US government's kind of watching it. Canada, I don't know if they even know what it does, but like, at any time, it could be like, okay, full takedown, and you're not to use it. Sort of like how some like businesses are like, you're not allowed to use GitHub, you're not allowed to use that. It just gets all, kind of banned. And, you know, it's just kind of like, yeah, at any time that could happen.
Yeah, or OpenAI could just simply make it more expensive, or change the heck out of it. That it's not, compatible with what you used to do. So yeah, any of these scenarios, it's good to have control. Kind of like, people go off the grid with their own solar panels to have some kind of a safety net, right? The
And I
same concept.
I feel like my personal mentality. So a real life case point scenario was, there's a voice text to speech group called Kokui, and I absolutely love those guys. Like, I thought their product was fantastic. And so I was like, like everything I ever did, vocal models, was like surrounded around Kokui as my core. And then one day he just had it. He just had it. They were running out of money. I think 11 Labs got bought by Disney, and they were kind of like the runner up. And they didn't like that, and he got super demotivated. And him and his like crew they basically, like, he just shut it down. And all of the paid services shut down. And there's it's just like that. Literally, like overnight, they gave up. And it was, in my opinion, like a 5-star product. And it was such a shock to me that almost like it was like a little bit like taking a step back into jumping into starting my own robotic AI company, because I'm like literally concerned that if these guys couldn't make it and they gave up, or it was that hard or whatever, it's going to be a big challenge for me.
Absolutely. So I used to do home automation. That was my business, with, lights and security and
Nice
audio and all that. And, back in the days, it was self-contained in the home. I started this in the late 90s and early 2000s. You had, computers in the wall and all stuff, but it was self-contained. Then Google and all these, they came up with hubs that, to turn on the light, it would send a message to Google, and it would come back as turn on the light, right? But then they sunset a bunch of these things, and it left people with no functionality, because everything had to go through the cloud. And I got, when I saw that happening, I got out of it, because I'm like, okay, I will only put in local only stuff, not stuff that depends, because that looks bad on me, right? If Google or whoever, Nest and all this stuff, they decide to change something, that can take down a whole, subsection of what they're doing.
If you're, I remember on the early days of home automation, like if your Wi-Fi went out or something like that, you couldn't turn on your lights. So there's a guy, I remember his YouTube video, and he had to fix the internet, but he couldn't turn on his lights to see where they, to see the wires and all that. And so, and the wife was just so pissed. I remember that. Yeah, so I'm I don't think have I done any professional home automation jobs? I don't think so. I think that so I've done a lot in my own house. Like, I have a lot of the Philips Hues, I actually have like the Ring security stuff, and which is through Amazon. And I don't know, I compared to most, I have a ton of home automation stuff. But I remember, like, it's probably around that era that you're talking about. I remember, like, it was just janky. Like, the light switches were just janky. It was like, I think it was like even pre Zigbee and all that stuff.
Oh, it was the X10.
Yeah,
right?
X10. Yeah. It was just a little
but
janky,
it
right?
was janky, but it was local. It worked.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I remember I was like thinking, I'm like, I want to take the plunge, I want to grab all this stuff, but I just remember like the functionality was like a little bit like not like 100%, and so
Yeah.
I waited, right? So I have like a lot of the Philips Hues, so I'm pretty happy with that. Like I think they're pretty cool. They're very expensive, but it's pretty, like my house will aura throughout the evening, you know, different hues and stuff, and like, you know, and Halloween, like I sync the lights outside to be like, you know, scare, like I put on scary music and like wolves howling and shit, and like the lights kind of flicker and zap to lightning and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I have a few, like, you know, and I have like the little iRobot cleaners and stuff like that. But yeah, and then I went, so I did I did like some security. I would do like local DVRs, NVRs, stuff like that. Everything was local, but I got into the Ring security stuff like I don't know, 2 years back, and it's been pretty good. I don't like the battery thing. Like I wanted to try it. I thought, well, it's super easy to install. As someone who like would pull PoE Ethernet through like the friggin' walls and the roof and shit, I thought, well, these are pretty cool. These like security cameras, but it is kind of annoying to switch their batteries out like 3 times a year.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is what it is. The doorbell's been solid though. That one's wired in hard, so it's good. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not bad. You know, for $200 a camera or whatever I paid, it's not bad. It is kind of nice.
They definitely simplified things, right? It's now, you know, install an app and click 5 times and you have it up and running. So
Yeah, and that app is great. I actually bound it to my power button on my Samsung phone. So if I double click my power button, it brings up that Ring console so I can see, and like the flood sensors are great. Like honestly, like sometimes we used to have an issue with our dishwasher, and dishwasher would, you know, start over flooding, and then like I'd know right away. And that happens sometimes at night. Like I'd be in bed, it'd be like 11:30, and I get like a call and it's just like, oh, your flood detected at your dishwasher. I'm like, God damn it. But then you get up, you deal with it. It's much better than actually having like, you know, a really big problem. So, but yeah, security was definitely a good industry. Well, guys, what do you think? Top of the hour? Maybe we should call it.
sounds good. Thanks for all the insights.
Thanks. It's
Yep.
good.
Yep, it was interesting. Thank you.
Good to see you guys. See you next week. Have a good
Same
weekend.
here. Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.